Good afternoon. My name is Owen Staton and welcome to my channel, Time Between Times Stories. First of all, thank you very, very much for coming by here again and spending some time here at the Time Between Times. Today, I've got a lovely story for you. One which is known all over Wales and beyond. Here, where I am right now, in the Neath Valley, this is a famous, famous tale, and one I hope you'll enjoy. Wherever you are, please just sit back, relax. Pretend that we are not in this modern world with all its technology raging around us. Let's pretend that we are in the time between times, the time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone and the sky is grey. The time when the veil between our world and the fairy world grows wafer, wafer thin. So thin that for a few moments you can reach into their world, and for a few moments they can reach into ours. That's the time that people see ghosts. That's the time that people see lights in the sky. And that is the time that people see fairies. That is the time between times. So sit back and imagine we are sat around the fireplace. Far away we can hear the howl of wolves. We can hear the growl of bears. We know we are safe here in the time between times. So join me as we journey back 1,000 years, at a time when Neath was still Neath, but very changed. At a time when Neath Market, which still runs today, and Neath Fair, that twice a year people gather from all over Wales, was but a small infancy of what it is now. Let's go back to the tale of Elodan and the fairies. Many years ago, there lived a young lad called Elodan. His father had died in a war over in France, left him and his mother with nothing to eat in a small wooden shack in the Neath Valley. Elodan grew tall and thin, and his mother grew old and frail, and she turned to him and said, "Elodan, in order for us to live, you must get an apprenticeship. You must become a tradesman. You must go to the market and be chosen as an apprentice." So one morning at the height of midsummer, Elodan arose with the sun and made his way to the market. And there he stood on a stage with all the other young boys, waiting to be chosen as an apprentice. He stood there and rocked back and forth, waiting as the sun rose and the day grew older. Throughout the day, various people came and chose new apprentices. A boy was chosen to be a blacksmith. A boy was chosen to be a carpenter. A boy was chosen to be a butcher. And as the day grew old, Elodan still stood upon the stage, unchosen, unloved, and lonely. The sun just started to set, and the time between times came into fruition. He was just about to set foot up off the stage, make his way back to his mother's house, when out of the crowd of people gathered around, a monk started to push and shove his way forward. "Who is that young boy? Who is that young boy there?" said the monk. "He is the last boy to be chosen for an apprentice. We will have him. We will have him in Neath Abbey. He can learn to cook and serve the monks who live there. Come on, boy, come down from the stage." Elodan clambered down the creaky wooden steps and made his way to the floor. The monk introduced himself as Brother Rufus. He took Elodan back to the great abbey at Neath, an abbey which towers reached to the sky. Great stone walls could be seen for miles around, and put Elodan to work in the kitchen. "You will get up every morning before dawn and make breakfast, pottage for the monks. You will make us lunch, you will make us supper. You will serve us. Do you understand?" Yes, I do," said Elodan. He was keen to work. And he did just as Brother Rufus said. Every morning he would wake, make pottage for the monks. He would make them lunch. He would make them dinner before they went to bed. He would also wash and clean and make good around the abbey and every task that they asked him to do. And he hated it. He hated every minute of it. The weeks turned to months, the months turned to a year, and Elodan knew that he had had enough. And one day, after supper was made, and the monks were going to prayer, he decided that it was time to run back to his mother, to find out that there was more to life than life within the abbey. He crept to the great stone walls, clambered up a ladder as the doors and the gates were closed, jumped down to the ground below, almost broke his legs and started to run and run and run up the Neath Abbey, up through Neath, up through the valley. Before he knew it, he could hear the bells sounding in the abbey behind him. Bells that knew that he was not alone any longer. And then the gates opened, and great hunting hounds made their way out, and he could hear the voice of Brother Rufus crying, find him, bring him back here. He is to be punished, he can't run away." Elodan rushed into the woods, clambering over rocks, under the trees, and made himself trying to hide deep in the darkest forest around the Neath Valley. He found a small cave, just enough room for a boy to step inside, and there behind him was a stone wall. Water ran down the wall, and he could just make out circular shapes etched in it. It must have gone back for years. He pressed his body up against the wall and waited and waited. He'd hear the hounds getting closer and closer and closer. Then he heard Brother Rufus's voice. "He must be around here somewhere. We are on his scent. Find him." Just before a hound peeked its head around the corner into the cave, Elodan felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned around, and there behind him was a figure. Great tall hat, clothes made of leaves. And then another figure, and Elodan looked into the faces of two of the Tylwyth Teg. His heart started to beat fast, for he knew that now he was in trouble. The Tylwyth Teg were here. One of the Tylwyth Teg turned round, pressed his hand against the stone wall, and started to make a circular movement. The wall twisted and turned until a tunnel of leaves started to lead deep into the mountain. The other Tylwyth Teg came to him, said shh, and stepped inside and jumped into the tunnel. The second one jumped into the tunnel, and Elodan turned around and looked into the face of a hunting hound and started to bark, and then, knowing he had no choice, turned around and jumped into the tunnel and started to fall deep, deep, deep down inside of the mountain until he landed with a bang. He looked around. Everything had changed. He was now in the land of the Tylwyth Teg. Everywhere he looked, he saw gold. The skies seemed to shine with a golden vigour. The water ran gold in the streams. The leaves were gold. Wherever he went, walking, following the two small Tylwyth Teg, Elodan could see more gold than any person alive had ever seen. Both the fairies took him to a great golden palace deep within the mountain and introduced him to the fairy king who sat upon his throne. "So you are Elodan, are you? Good. You are welcome here. You are welcome here in the land of the Tylwyth Teg, in Arran. But know this, you must only go home once a year, and once a year alone. And when you go, you take nothing from here and take it there. You will not get a second chance. If you take anything from this land back to your own land, you will never be welcome here again. Do you understand?" "Oh yes, I understand." "Follow the golden river to the golden bridge, and there next to the golden bridge you will see a golden hut. It is yours. Go there and live." Elodan did as the fairy king said. Followed the golden river past the golden bridge until he came to the golden hut. He had never known riches like it. Everything inside the hut was gold. Gold knives, gold forks, golden plates, a golden bed. He lived like a king. To live in the fairy realm was to live the life of dreams. Every day the sun did shine. Every morning he would rise and play football with a golden ball with all the fairies, and he loved every moment of it. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months, and the months turned to a whole year. And he knew he could go home just the once. Although life in the fairy realm was great, deep in his heart he missed his mother. So Elodan asked the king if he could go, and the king granted him, and he returned once more to the heart of the mountain and looked upon the great stone wall, placed his hand upon it and started to twirl it round and round and round, until the stones turned into a tunnel of trees, and Elodan stepped inside and appeared in the forest above the Neath Valley once more. He looked down to the hut where his mother lived, and despair overtook him. The roof had almost totally collapsed. The walls were rotten and old, and he came, and as he opened the door, it almost fell off in his hand. He found his mother in bed, close to death. "Elodan, I have missed you so, but you have a new life now. Forget about me," she said. "But Mum, I can't forget about you. I can't. Go and leave me. I have no money. I have no food. I have nothing. But you have everything. Go and leave me." She kissed Elodan upon the cheek, and he left the hut. Making his way back to the cave, he pressed his hand upon the wall and twirled it once more. The tunnel of trees arrived. He stepped inside and fell into the land of the Tylwyth Teg. But now his heart was heavy. He could not leave his mother like that. He returned home to the golden hut by the golden river, by the golden bridge, and sat with the blackest heart. "I can only return home once a year, but I can't leave my mother like this." Going against all his instincts, he took a golden knife and a golden fork and a small golden ball that he had played sports with the Tylwyth Teg, and placed them in his coat. He waited for night to fall, although there was little difference in night and day in the realm of the Tylwyth Teg. Made his way back to the cave, looked around him, and all was quiet. Placed his hand on the wall, twirled it round and round and round, till the tunnel of leaves came once more, stepped inside, and appeared above his mother's hut in the dark of night. He rushed down the hill and hammered on the door. "Ma'am, ma'am, I'm home." He opened the door, rushed inside to her bedroom. But she was not there. Sat on her bed was the king of the Tylwyth Teg. "Elodan, you have betrayed us. Elodan, you were warned. Elodan, you knew the rules. But still you break them. And carrying in your coat a golden knife, a golden fork, and the golden ball, you have chosen to steal from us. So, Elodan, you will never return to the land of the Tylwyth Teg again. You will never see your mother again. You had a chance. You lost that chance." He clicked his fingers, and Elodan appeared in the cave, his back against the wall. He put his hand against it and started to move it, but the cave did not open. And then in the doorway stood the great hunting hound. "Whoa!" it barked. "There he is! There he is!" came the voice of Brother Rufus, who reached inside, grabbed Elodan, and took him back to Neath Abbey, where no time had passed at all. Placed him back to work in the kitchen, where he remained. Though Elodan the boy grew to be Elodan the man, and although he hated life in the abbey, he used to look up to the mountains at the time between times and think just that sometimes he would see the fairies playing on the mountain. As he grew older, he became a monk himself, and there, at the end of his days, he changed his name to Elodaris and became the abbot of Neath Abbey. A great wise man called Gerald of Wales, as he became known, was travelling through the land, and he met Elodaris, who told him his tale of how he lived in the fairy realm for a year and a day. never went back. But it is said even now, at the time between times, the time when it is neither night nor day, but the sun has gone, the sky is grey. If you look in the Neath Valley, you will see the fairies play football on the hill with a golden ball, or they dance under the moonlight. And there in the mountainside, I know where it is that small cave cut into the hillside. And if you look carefully, you can see the mark where over years people have turned their hands, trying to open the realm of the fairies. Many have tried. I don't know if any have succeeded. And that, my friends, is the story of Elodan and the fairies. I hope you enjoyed. Well, there it is, this week's tale, a famous tale, a well-known tale, and one that you enjoy, I hope. Thank you ever so much for coming here at the time between times. Please subscribe to the channel. If you like it, press a like, press a comment as well, leave a comment, and ask, is there any stories you'd like me to cover, any stories you'd like me to tell, any questions you'd like to ask me? Please put them there. Take care. I will see you soon. The time between times. Nostra.